All right, welcome. Lesson 74 to the H Radio 223 part-timers. And this is our part two of six for airtime, coming from Next Level Radio textbook from Cullinan. Oh, there goes my pronunciation. From Cullinan and Nash. And we're going to have a look at 6.1, page 329 to 330. Looking at spots as well for 330 to 331, or basically 329 to 333. Let's leave it at that. Okay, let's start with a little bit of an introduction. Excuse me, I don't know what's going on with my pronunciation today. Right, and just in this chapter, as we move forward with sales and revenue, just to kind of close up this section of our learning, we are going to go through understanding the process of explaining the procedures and the methods that are involved in creating radio spots. Exactly what is a radio spot? If you know already, don't worry, that's cool. That's great. We're going to delve into that just a little bit more. Identify aspects of partnerships between media outlets and stations, including individuals and show sponsorships. And then we're also going to identify some aspects of partnerships between the media outlets and stations, right, including individual and show sponsorships, right? That almost looks like the same exact, that's the same exact sentence. Wow. Okay. All right. Well, it's good to re-emphasize now it's in your head a little bit more solidly. Okay. Airtime. We all know about airtime. We know that again, a radio station depends on the sales of airtime as well as all the marketing, or say marketing, sponsorships, whatever it may be, advertising. At the end of the day, advertising is what keeps any station across any country afloat. There is not much to be said about other types of revenue. It's as I said before, about maybe 75 to 80% of the revenue that a station makes comes from selling spots. Okay, selling advertising in whatever way, shape, and form that it comes in 2023. Right. So it really is a very important thing for anyone that's involved at the radio station. So all of us are involved. We are cogs of a larger machine, and we are all responsible for obviously the success and growth for the station. And the better the product, at the end of the day, everyone does their job, everyone's great, and there's great synergy and again great quality. It's easier, should I say, not easy. Sales are never easy, but it's easier to sell that product because again, we want to build some confidence in the product. We can also see that as well at the end of the day, just from an external perspective. And we really want to make sure that we do understand that there is a lot a mandatory respect for the way that the process is withheld throughout all departments, whether they are again supporting departments for their sales and marketing. So from programming side to technical to marketing, whatever it may be. Right at the end of the day, we got to do our job so that they can do theirs well. All right. Let's look at a couple of points here, just to introduce to the concept further of understanding spots. We have covered the ideas of what power spots are. We have also looked at the concepts of spots. It's not really that it's foreign to you. We are going to identify the aspects of partnerships between media outlets. Like I say, the power spot, perhaps, maybe, right? But the presenter as well at the end of the day, who is responsible at the end of, say, basically the production line. So the production line, like we said, sales will go maybe into copy and sound engineering, will go into programming. Programming will go into the on-air side of programming, which is you at the end of the day. So again, nothing must fail at the very end point. A lot of work has gone into it. Describe various methods of deriving revenue through brand ambassadors. Okay, so again, as we've said in previous lectures and lessons, that we know that there are many other ways now to obviously construct certain contexts and again, just content at the same time where we can also charge for it. We saw those massive pricing examples that were in the previous, I think the previous to that lesson. where that we're looking at digital media and how much you actually pay for just a couple of posts. And so it is now it is a solid, and also it is a dependable return on investment that we have found. And again, we did explain those strategies as to how to explain how returning investment will occur, or will basically come to fruition for a client as well. Right, but we want to demonstrate the awareness of the possibility pitfalls involved for stations and individuals, because brand ambassadors they need to adhere at the end of the day to a number of different, obviously, ethics as well, behavior, obviously delivery, performance, quality, all that type of stuff. And so the thing is that they can do one wrong move and it can have a massive ripple effect, which can have lasting and devastating effects to the station and the brand itself, as well as whoever partnered up with us for that. Okay, word of mouth, people, word of mouth, in life and in business. Bad. Describe well, no, I say bad, it's effective, and if it's bad, it's very badly effective. Okay, describe the procedures and methods involved in deriving the revenue through outside broadcasts. So once again, I did say that the 70 to 80% comes in from advertising, whereas outside broadcasts, for example, become a bit of a hybrid, like a hybrid activation, where we are piggybacking on, let's say, the popularity of a venue, maybe. We're obviously partnering up with a specific brand, right? Okay. And then also we have to look at many different other ways. So this is not exactly third party revenue, but it is outside particular, and not to put the pun into outside broadcast, but it is outside the realm of just traditional advertising, right? So it's a great way to definitely also build brand awareness. We can have contact, like direct hand to hand, quote unquote, eye to eye, mouth to mouth, right? We can talk directly to our listeners. We can see them again, and make lasting experiences that definitely have that brand loyalty up and upped further. Okay. So explain how digital platforms can be integrated into on-air products to derive the revenue. We have explained that aspect as well. I'm not going to carry on further. Explain how online presence can cross-promote individuals and media outlets with reference to actual examples, which we're going to do, and again look at throughout this, and obviously the following lectures, or the upcoming lectures, and then again discuss an event or activation, how that can be revenue, and an advantage for the client. Okay, so like I said, they're like an activation for an event, or should I say an event, like an outside broadcast. If it's done really well, people have a great experience, things are managed. Like, for example, if you are having an outside concert and it's through the day and it's in summer, make sure people are hydrated, make sure that there's paramedics like standing by. We don't want an experience that someone does pass out, perhaps maybe even is hospitalized, or even, knock on wood, dies at our event, because there's something that we could have done to prevent it, right? It's obviously a pure nightmare for something to happen like that. But again, that advantage of having a great experience. I got home, they're tired, but they fun tired. They had so much fun. It was great. Definitely worth the drive. Definitely worth the petrol, as we'd say these days, and definitely worth the time. At the end of the day, time is probably our most precious aspect, or asset, should I say, that we will give not freely of, definitely with a lot of terms and conditions to that. Okay, and if we have our time wasted, man, are we upset? So let's look at spots. All right. Spots are also called generic or classic airtime, right? So spots on air. Spots either can be live reads. Again, things have to be timed in this way, because we have to depend on a rate card, right? So the rate card will say that, like, for example, at community stations, perhaps something like a breakfast show might charge about maybe 1,400 to maybe 2,500, even depending on, obviously, the amount of people, between 40, 60, 80,000 people, or listeners that have been marked. Um, and obviously, I say not confirmed, but you'll see they've been confirmed by the BRC Rams. It's out there. It's public. It's obviously valid. It's data, right? but we can charge quite a large amount for just a 30-second spot, right? It's just a 30-second produced ad as well. If it's produced, we can definitely charge a little bit more. That's what I'm saying to it might go to about 2,500. Perhaps maybe if it's a live read, we can go perhaps maybe around to 1,000 on a breakfast show, right? And depending on obviously on the time segments, so every quarterly, right? It will change quarterly every 15 minutes. Okay, in those particular hours, we'll have different types of traffic in there, and so we can charge higher or lower depending on what time of day that quarterly actually occurs or we're referring to, right? Okay, recorded message. So the spot when we're looking at a produced ad, right? That has to be again 30 seconds, 20 seconds, 40 seconds, 45 seconds, or 60 seconds, because our rate card will depend on how long that particular spot is going to be. We don't do things for 23 seconds, we don't do it for 28 seconds, we do it for 30 seconds so that we can charge accordingly, right? So production, as I said to you before, I mean, I think, well, not I think I know, I did it like right in front of you or virtually in front of you when I created that little donut promo for you. And I think I made it, yeah, I did make it. Oh, look, I'm patting myself virtually on the back as well. So I made it exactly 30 seconds, right? Because it is, even though it's a promo for the station, and obviously the station's not going to pay the station for it, that's the type of approach you must take when you are producing ads that are going to be aired on our shows or on our station, right? So again, typically it is 30 seconds long. Again, more for the PSAs, we're looking at 40, 45 seconds, even to a minute. But very rarely do we look at, let's say, the 20-second spot. We try and convince them that we'll add, there's production and there's enough elements within 30 seconds that we can do that will benefit them better um, than just a 20-second spot. We don't want to clutter. We also that creates clutter amongst our spot blog. Not blog. What am I saying to you? Like our spot log. There we go. I've got not blogs in the mind, but yeah, it's a spot log, right? So what is a spot log? It's basically the advertisements version of a playlist, right? So you're gonna have your playlist on the one side and a spot log, ideally that you would have to mark off or sign or whatever it is if they are looking for paperwork. I'm saying the management teams, right? Or the sales teams. Okay, anyway, sidebar, right? Advertisers can, however, buy airtime ranging from 5 seconds up to 60 seconds, right? Again, so the 5 seconds, very unlikely because what are you going to say in 5 seconds, right? Besides, let's say it'll be a billboard, right? So, what is a billboard? A billboard, so let's say our insurance is sponsoring the news or the sports or the traffic or the weather, whatever it is. A billboard can be about 5 to 7 seconds or 10 seconds long, where you'll just say, this weather report is brought to you by our insurance, something, something, something. I don't know what their catchphrase is or their tagline. And that is about 5 seconds, right? So that is the only likely example is a billboard, right? Something that'll happen before we actually go and do the weather or the traffic. And then at the end, we'll actually play a 30-second spot that is produced from our insurance, right? Um, as obviously part of the package. Spots are clustered into advertising breaks, so ad breaks or spot breaks, which are part of a show clock, as you know by now. Each ad break is roughly 3.5 minutes in length, which means that there is a space for 7 spots throughout a show, right? And we're looking at a typical daytime weekday show and those that's quite normal. On the weekends, not so much. We do fill up the weekends with a lot of like the BCCSA stuff. We do add added value, let's say. So let's say someone spent a lot of money with the station, we might add a couple of those, like live reads or spots during the weekend, kind of like as like a bonus for them or whatever it may be, right? Ideally, we would also cross promote, as it would have live promos that would appear on weekends, kind of to fill that up as well. And yeah, it's always an opportunity again to cross. That I think if let's say a community station, for example, is battling with airtime over weekends, I would tend to want include it as a package deal. Bonus, we're going to play you some stuff over the weekend. Because you spend so much money or ideally, I would definitely cross promote heavily, heavily, heavily. to the other shows and what's happening there. Okay. All right. So creativity, I think a 30-second spot must always deliver on the three C's. What are the three C's? One is capture. What does capture mean? Content must capture the attention of the audience. So, in other words, when you do write copy, so copy is the script for a obviously a spot that we are now going to go in and record. We said with the voiceover artists that are, good fits with the copy department that is going to obviously write up this particular piece of, I say, the copy department writes copy, right? So the script itself. And again, it must be simple. We said there must be simple. It must tell us the message, mustn't be vague, mustn't be elusive, mustn't be beyond people's kind of like passive, processing, I would say level, because again, our listeners are processing at a passive level. And again, we want to just get the message out nice and clear, crafty scripts, nice voiceover artist, yeah, I say applicable music. So when it is necessary to put in music to just make that, obviously that atmosphere or that, that dramatic feel, just more, I say potent, right? Okay. So capture content must capture the attention of the audience. All right. Doesn't mean you have to shout and scream unless, let's say, that's part of, let's say, role playing. A role playing, narrative that you are scripting into your copy. Okay, curiosity. Content must arouse the curiosity of the listener. And do you want to know of the best deal you're going to get when it comes to like a December break? I don't know. That's not exactly the best copy. I just thought of it now. There would be a brainstorming session carrying on before I go into it. But we want to be like, okay, the listener's going to be like, what is that? I have been looking like I am currently anyway planning a vacation over December, and this sounds like something that I want to give it another 5 seconds, perhaps maybe to listen to. So we want to arouse that curiosity. Definitely ask, like like bring up a bit of a capture, a nice hook in there as well. Would be a great way to get their attention. Very interesting and creative in the way that we might use different, like I say, different voiceover artists to do different accents to portray different types of people and different types of situations, whatever it may be, right? Um, the biggest sell happening at Checkers this weekend, this 3 day weekend, whatever it may be. And you don't want to, and you won't miss out, whatever it may be, on, and then we can start saying, uh, you know, price cuts of up to 40, 50%, in groceries or whatever it may be. I don't know. I'm not a homey person right now. Again, I'm not going to be able to list some things. It's nice, nice listing checklist from Checkers. Anyway, it doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying. So in order to encourage the continued listening, that's the main thing, right? Okay. And eventually we want them to buy into what it is that we are selling. Ask yourself, like when you do read back that copy, when you do listen to that advert, it shouldn't go that far. You should actually do it in the copy. Would you be interested in what it is that this place has to offer? So the new car, the new lounge suites, let's say perhaps maybe a very I say what is it discounted visit to the doctor or the dentist or the eye specialist or something that you might be looking for right now, right? Um, so that type of stuff is definitely something that's going to perk up your ears, and you're going to be like, okay, no, I have to listen further. Anyway, so content must convert the listener from being a passive consumer of the message to be an active member of that brand community, right? To actually go out, I'm going to maybe go and definitely look on the net. Instead of maybe just going straight into the shop, unless I am a regular consumer at that particular shop or that brand, right? Okay, I would definitely go back in and be like, oh no, I trust this brand already. I'm gonna go and like capitalize on these specials, whatever it may be, right? But 10 to 1 probably going to just like get a better idea of what's happening by going to their obviously social media pages. We would find quick and easy, obviously. I say collaborative affirmation. So what I heard on air is it here as well, and I find that that sometimes that isn't necessarily the case. I do hear of things, or I do see, for example, definitely. If you go into onto your social media feeds and you scroll down, obviously I see a ton of advertisements, right? So I see the advertisement and I say, okay, I'm definitely now I've remembered it and I want to go back to it like maybe on a day or two after I say, no, definitely I want to go look. So I go to the brand page itself, and suddenly that particular advertisement is not there in any of the posts of itself because this is now obviously paid for media that has gone. So they did something really cool on the sponsored ad. I can't find the sponsored ad anyway, and they're let's say they're obviously supportive or their uploaded media or their content is saying nothing about it, and that makes me a little bit that irritates me a little bit. So my thing is that like we want to be able to make sure that when they do get there, they become active. So yes, then I'm going to click even further and I'm going to go to the website. Then I go to the website. I create obviously my let's say my cart account, whatever it is, cart. So CART. So I want to obviously be able to see that I can obviously buy things online, whatever it may be. But I will definitely go look at what is being advertised and further maybe go explore, either go virtual shop there. Okay. A good radio spot is much like a story. It must have a strong intro to draw the audience, again, like a hook, an interesting middle section, and tells them about why they care about the offers that we have for them, why is it relevant for them, and a meaningful end that encourages them to go and act. They must go act. Phone here, visit here, come through to our store now, go buy this. Like you have a limited time to do this. It's all about action, 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 and also creating that bit of a FOMO experience, for someone that is listening. Okay. Remember, like when you are trying to, I suppose, maybe, uh, uh, what's the word I'm looking for, man? I'm so sorry for the loss of words, but I'm trying to justify. There we go. So I'm going to justify why this particular, product is going to appeal to people. So once again, please remember, like there are always people that are looking for, let's say, like going to the dentist to have a checkup or a dental clean or whatever it is, like a tooth cleaning or whatever, right? But not everyone is. And that's fine because the thing is that it's like you must think about people that hand out flyers, right? So we're talking about, let's say, 500 to 1,000 flyers a day. That is very cheap. That's below the line marketing, right? And again, like let's say the most flyers that we do find when you are driving and you're stopping at robots, whatever it may be, are for car services, right? And again, I've said this before, but think about how much car service costs. So yes, it starts from let's say 6.99, but it's never the case, right? Because obviously a car service needs you to replace that. Maybe is a little bit of the service. I'm saying the actual. So we were paying for the service that is rendered, and perhaps maybe the most basic, cheapest versions of those items that might um, like your air filter and not even your spark plugs would be included in the 6.99. I don't think it's 6.99. I think it would probably start around about 8.99, 9.99. Anyway, doesn't matter. The point is that like you're going to be like car services are something I need constantly, but not every day. Right. And the thing is that normal car service, let's say it's about 2,000 on average. It's a 2,500 rand is quite a good deal. And if they've spent very little, if you think about 500 flyers, we're talking about, I don't know, I'm not sure, but let's call it maybe $1,000. Huh? Let's say 1,500 bucks. If I get, let's say, 20 people, just 20 people from 500 to 1,000 flyers, 500, right? It says 500, right? 20 people. I'm going to make my money back easily, which is why below the line marketing works so well. But again, why am I going off point here? Not going off point. You're appealing only to the person that needs a service. Most of us do chuck those flyers away. We take them out of politeness. That person is doing a job. It's a great thing to take the flyer. It's going to cost you nothing, man. But also we sometimes obviously put it in our cubby hole, right? And we're like, yeah, because I know that's coming up. That moment is coming up. Now, and I might be looking for a different, I would say provider for a car service. Anyway, okay. Just remember, your adverts will appeal to somebody out there, like a group of people that do need your service. All right. So, great radio advert is worthless without an audience to listen to it. Media planning and implementation are equally important to the success rate of generic advert placement. Right. So, again, really, that is for us to also be able to sell properly. We need to understand the audience as well to be able to convince that, listen, you've got the right audience listening at this time for your advert or for your sponsorship or for your activation, whatever. We want to do it here, here, and here. We recommend that, and that's going to really work, right? So we can place the ad correctly. Let's talk about just on air for the moment, right? So media planners will look at brands' desired audiences along with the radio station's audiences, right? So our audience and their audience, or their consumers, should I say, should definitely coincide at the same time. So you're a really scaly salesperson if you are convincing people that want to sell a product or a service or their business, whatever it is, on your station, and you know for a fact, like your listeners have no, like in their lifestyle, it doesn't play any part. So you're just looking for the sell, and really you're a terrible person just in general for doing that. Ideally, what we do is we want that, like you got to think of the long run. We want the person to come back. I'm saying the brand to come back and back and back and keep spending money on what we have to offer. Right. Okay. So they'll then pinpoint the best times, channels, and environments in which the message should be shared. It might be a more effective as well to definitely do like a bit of a real, definitely a little bit of, again, kind of like an audio visual thing for TikTok or for Instagram, even for Facebook. It doesn't really matter. People get a little bit more irritated on Facebook, I think, when they see something that's going to play. But that we might suggest those supportive channels as well as other avenues on top of what we're doing on air. Reach is extremely important as it offers the advertiser a chance to connect with as many listeners as possible. So yes, our listeners, that is definitely part of what we say. We say this is the amount that we have. This is, like I say, this is our last recorded Rams amount, right? Okay, from the last diaries, and this is how it's also broken down on social media. And that's very important that we do include that the social media aspects, so many followers, so many subscribers, so many whatever it is, on average, how many plays does a video get, that type of stuff that kind of entices them a little bit further, right? Radio is referred to a frequency medium because of how easily ads can be bought and how effective they can be. Yes, we always keep saying like advertising is a it's a tune out factor, right? But it's not. It's a tune out. We don't switch the radio off unless your when you are, so your traffic department is supposed to be scheduling these ads. If they are being irresponsible and they are scheduling ads that's at 5 minutes, 5.5 minutes, and they're doing it consistently, right? A listener is going to catch on to the fact that why am I still listening to ads? Kind of like when you watch DSTV, man. Like there's ads all the time. It's so annoying, right? So much so that, like I say, you 10 to 1 switch off from that channel, go to another channel that you're watching two things at one time because you know when one ad break ends, the other one's going to start in the other channel, and you flip between. It's super irritating. If they catch that you are consistently doing this, even for a few days, they're going to be like, no, I don't want to listen to the station. But like a 3.5 minute spot, let's say spot break on average, that's as much as a song. People don't mind that. It goes quickly. They're in their car. They're listening passively and as well. No one listens actively, right, to radio. Uh, um, Again, that's your face to the radio and doing nothing else. So just, yeah, I mean, it is very effective. Again, subliminal marketing, right? Subconscious placements, right? This means that advertisers can flight their spots, play their ads several times a day to make sure that listeners hear and take in the message at different parts. So different listeners for different times of the day, and that's what an advertiser will agree to. They'll be like, no, listen, yeah, I would rather have the bigger probability of someone hearing my advert right across the day, because again, different people live different lives, right? And I'd rather go for a package deal 10 to 1 than me just selecting certain ones on the breakfast alone. Again, we do also introduce the possibility of our P1 listener and maybe about how much clout a P1 listener might have for the return on investment. But ideally, it's about that P2 listener that really has effect. Okay. All right, context. Once you have your message and you've decided on a way to maximize the audience reach, you really need to consider how the message will be received. So, context is an underrated element in the creation of generic advertisement or advertising. So, what does that actually mean? Like, let's quickly look at the last point, and I'll explain it. So, the mindset of the audience, along with the environment of the show and the creative messaging of the advert, must all work again together to just get like really bring it home, and that advert can have um like a lasting or impactful effect. Okay, so it isn't just again like we in like you're learning theoretics right now, you're hearing one thing. It's not this like theoretical approach, just one thing follows another. We have to have a holistic approach to how we do place these things, place our segmentation on radio, how we treat radio as a holistic product, and really look at all aspects at any one particular point that we can make that particular point, right, segment more effective. As you know, as we want to air it, when we want to put stuff on air that is worth airing. Okay, excuse me. If we look at live reads, right? So a live read is 10. So the way that we script a live read is 10 to 1 going to add up to 30 seconds on air, right? Live read is not produced. Okay, so there's no pre-production. A live read is a lot cheaper. We normally add that in as part of again a package. So a live read is when you hear a DJ. There's no bed music. There's nothing. It's just a cold read, and they read it like precisely, no mistakes, nothing. The DJ will go and practice that live read beforehand, make sure that they have good ownership of it, good power, and good confidence, and then deliver it with obviously great at their greatest capacity, right? Okay. So the live read, much cheaper, obviously. Again, as I said, no production needs to go in it. A live read also contains a brand message. It's scripted and it's paid for by the advertiser. It also attempts to influence the listener's feelings about the brand, right? So we do it live. Some stations actually pre-record their live reads because sometimes they don't have a full faith in their DJs. This is predominantly why, right? So when you do have a recorded live read, it's because they think that the DJs make too many mistakes, and just one or two complaints from the client or a client is enough to say like we will not have that happen again. So we might even pre-record the live read and just schedule that in, as opposed to leaving it up to quote unquote faith in the presenter. Ideally, it should be done live by the presenter. It is not recorded, but rather read out by the presenter during a commercial break, right? So when a live read pops up and you have to read it out, make sure that you play. There's an advert. You come in with a live read, you play another advert, jingle, go to let's say music or whatever the next segment is, okay, or yeah, element in your show. The other thing is again, don't because it's a live promo is more something that's attached to a link, right? A live read must be localized and isolated, put on its own. It's got to be independent, right? Okay, it can often top or tail an ad break. So again, is executed at the beginning or the end of a break. Live reads give the perception of a personal endorsement, like we're saying it as the DJ on our show. So we are telling you, go trust us, go buy this pizza, go buy Jik or whatever it is. I don't know. by a presenter reading the live read, it provides a level of credibility to the brand if you are a good DJ and they like your show, right? Which is hopefully conveyed to the listener. Live reads are more expensive than generic adverts. Sorry, let me just quickly. Okay, salespeople refer to this as loading. So, okay, so again, as generic adverts, right? So we don't want to, because again, let's do the. So please don't. I'm stumbling here because I don't want this thing to be confused with the produced adverts. Okay, produced adverts cost a lot more, right? Generic adverts placed in general, I'm saying across another medium, right? Okay. Perhaps are going to cost a little bit more. I'm not going to buy into this particular statement, particularly because live reads are also dependent on a rate card, right? And we might get a really cheap deal, right? Especially at a community station with a big reach. And so this is debatable, okay, at the end of the day. Uh, all right, okay. All right. Of course, the thing is with the live reads, we do have a large capacity, which is the loading part, right? Okay, the loading aspect covered as well. Okay. In other words, if you were to buy five live reads, they would cost more than five times 30-second spots. Um, that is not necessarily again the case. All right. Depending again, 30-second spots, if they are produced, okay, and they are placed in a breakfast show, for example, you're going to pay a lot more than you would pay for a live read that is placed in a breakfast show, right? This is because, okay, just to obviously contextualize this, because a presenter is lending their voice and their relationship with the listener to the message, making it more valuable and therefore more expensive again in certain cases, right? Live reads in general, especially at community stations, cost a lot less than actual produced content. Okay, let's quickly let's look at some more notes. Live read campaigns can exist on air for long periods of time, definitely, but the messages should change frequently so that the listeners stay interested, right? So that's also a nice way to sell again, because we can sell live reads as cheaper because of the non-production fees, right? We can also convince the client, let's sell more, buy more of it. You had a budget anyway. Let's put this in and give you some more value for your money. And we will also at no extra cost, obviously, because a live read is a live read. We'll go and we'll change the scripting once every week or whatever it may be, right? Don't repeat the same message over and over. The listeners will become bored and will stop listening to it as well. We could also change that message. Suppose we are promoting a Black Friday, for example, right? Different products can be promoted throughout different live reads that are scheduled throughout the day, right, on different shows. Just to give a little bit of flexibility and a little bit of fluidity and contrast, right? Okay, consider that message you want the audience to walk away with after hearing your advert and find a variety of ways to deliver it. Include easy to use, specific contact information like telephone numbers, definitely email addresses, website addresses, like follow us at whatever it may be, right? Definitely, you must do the call to action. Go phone us, go and text us on our WhatsApp line, go join our WhatsApp group, whatever it may be. I don't know. Don't overwhelm the listeners. Oh, like clear message, clear action at the end of the day. Okay. If the message is scripted in a way that highlights the brand, listeners will likely search for further information, just as I explained a little earlier on in this lesson. We're nearly done. So premium costs, live reads usually carry a loading, as we said there, right? This means that an extra charge is added to the rate of a regular 30 or 60-second spot, again, in certain situations, right? So this is because they sound like they are part of the show, right? Rather than in a separate ad break. And so listeners are more likely to take attention because the DJ's voice is now attached to it. More like again, I think we did discuss this quite profusely in a way back when class when we spoke about that kind of like almost edging on brand ambassadors, right? where you're going to bring that in. It's not going to be necessarily with considered part of the live read, but that brand attachment to the presenter itself or him or herself is a possibility, definitely. Something I would not definitely guarantee as a return on investment, right? I would sell the personal aspect. I would definitely charge less, sell more, right? Okay. And again, making it more valuable is contextually questionable because it depends on how much the listener loves that particular DJ, right? Okay. They have a lot more clout. It's like, it's that subliminal like loyalty that we have, that confirmation from that presenter or this show or whatever it may be, or this station, maybe yes, no, okay, again on a broader scale, but we're talking about that presenter in this particular context that we could again linked to maybe a higher premium, right? Furthermore, anyway, premium pricing discourages advertisers from buying these as frequently as they would buy conventional smart plans. This is why I say rather make it cheaper and sell a whole lot more. I'm saying schedule a whole lot more live reads because any DJ that you do put on your station should be credible, should be great, and should be able to deliver enough, at least the sense of trust between you and your listener. I do have, like I say, some reservations about what is in the textbook, as we are saying here. Yeah. So, all right, ensures that live reads are used correctly and that they're not exploited by advertisers, right? So, when is it a good time to use a live read, right? Just to close up the lesson, when something requires immediate action or urgency, when communicating a change or an update of known information. So, some good updates again about an event, about some, like I say, evolution of events for public service announcements, definitely for emergencies, most definitely for offers that are available for a limited time period. Definitely, I know all of these are definitely, but if the live read also has a particular interest in or relevant to the product, this creates a greater sense of personal attachment to the message. Again, questionable. All right, okay, debatable. When I say debatable, please also note, I'm not saying that there's nothing wrong with this approach. This is like advertising is it has fluidity, right? So that again, as I say, just the way that the rate card is also dependent and the sponsorship packages are dependent on many different variables. I want you to just take that into consideration and take it from a holistic angle. All right, one more slide, and then there's a piece of homework for you, right? So the margin of error, there's always a risk of human error. The natural mistakes that people make involved in live reads, as I've mentioned before. Radio stations ask for these scripts in advance to give presenters time to rehearse and establish a tone and manner of presentation that feels natural and consistent with the station's brand. Your job as a DJ, you come into work early, as we've said there, right? You go and look which scripts or live reads you have got and what is then obviously set as part of your spot break, which is just a reminder to know that you play it at the right time, right? But you will take those scripts, you will go and you will rehearse until it sounds great. It also helps presenters to prepare for mistakes and errors, and the shorter the spot, the shorter the script needs to be. Okay, so once again, 30-second is a perfect timing for that. All right, I want to end off with this. All you need to do is complete activity 9A on page 333, and that is that for the lesson. Okay, I hope you learned something, and I'll see you in the next one.